the way I deal with it is I do it. And if I fail, I fail. What's going to happen? So you fail. So what? Sun's going to get up tomorrow. Sun's going to rise. If you fail, you fail. All right, hello. This is Chazz Palminteri. Welcome to the Chazz Palminteri Show. It's Monday, 11 o'clock. You know what that means. It's time for you to hit that button, subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that, John. You know that? Subscribe, because we got some great guests every week. You know me. Don't forget, if you want to come and see my one-man show, go to chazzpalminteri.net. And we only have one more show for the rest of the year. And then the 2025 cat tour will be out. In fact, it's out now if you go to chazzpalminteri.net, but that's not until February. So let's talk about my last show. Where is that, John?
Last show is going to be November 23rd in Cranston, Rhode Island at the Park Theater.
Cranston, Rhode Island. Oh, I love that place. At the Park Theater. All right. So that's my last show this year. Cranston, Rhode Island at the Park Theater. Come and check it out. Also, my restaurants, 264 Main Street, 30 West 46th Street. One of the top great restaurants in New York. Both of them. Great fish, meat. My name's on it, folks. It has to be good. Don't forget, at the end of your meal, mention my name that you see my podcast. Free desserts. And I'm talking about not bullshit desserts. We make our own desserts. Tiramisu, cannolis, it's all free desserts for the table, okay? Or right after dinner drink, whatever you want. And my merchandise on chazzpalminteri.net. So today is, John, life and other bullshit, right?
Fan questions.
Same questions from the audience. I tell you, a lot of people are pissed off about things, really. Wow. You know?
They're pissed off or they just want to hear your advice.
All right. Let's see what we got.
So the first one we got says, Chazz, Thanksgiving is coming up. I'm afraid that some of my family will be arguing because they are on completely different sides of the political spectrum.
Oh, God.
How can we coexist with one another and not argue at dinner?
Well, John, I don't talk politics. I just, I just don't believe in it. I just think, for me, I keep my own vote to myself because I'm a get-along guy. I like to get along with everybody. You know what? I understand. There's division on both sides. But God, I mean, it's Thanksgiving. Look at the word, Thanksgiving, giving thanks for what we have. I mean, you're going to let a vote stop you from being together? I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good, John. I don't think it's healthy. I think in 4 years, who's going to give a shit? You know what I mean? And I think be careful what you say, because as the great poet, I can't remember his name, I wish forgetting what someone said is as easy as taking off your coat, but it's not. I mean, sometimes people could say things to you that are very hurtful, that stay in your memory for life. So be careful what you say to each other. And it's Thanksgiving. And to resent each other and to hate each other, I just think that's wrong. Resentment and hate and jealousy is like you drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. It doesn't work. So all I can say is give thanks. We're on this planet for a short time. So especially fighting with your family over votes, nah, I don't think so. What's the next question?
Next question we have is, how's Sandy Blue Eyes?
Well, Sandy Blue Eyes is a character. We have an episode coming out with him soon, right? I think next week.
Next week,
right. I brought Sandy back on to do a show with Sandy for next week. Sandy is my personal security, my bodyguard. Been with me many years. Bobby Falcone, both of them, 2 ex-cops. I like to hire ex-cops. They're the best. They see and hear everything, They've been there, if you know what I mean. And Sandy's a good guy. So is Bobby. But I think Sandy will be on next week. And I can't say what it is, but big announcement from Sandy Blue Eyes. Big
He'll be on
announcement.
next week. And then there's another Sandy question. Last one. It says, how fast were you going when Sandy pulled you over?
Wow. I met Sandy about 1980. Oh my God, 1987. I was going fast. I was doing probably, I was probably doing about 110, 115. And Sandy pulled me over on his motorcycle. And that's how we met.
How'd that interaction go? I've never heard this story.
You know, he just said, what are you doing? You were speeding. And he looked at me, and I wasn't famous, and I was Italian. And then I told him where I live. And then he was dating a girl that lived right across the hall from me. Jeannie, the girl Jeannie Dietz. And we started talking, and we became friends forever. That's how it happens.
Oh, that's funny. Next question. Is it possible for a bad guy to become a good guy? Why do you think they do it?
Is it possible for a bad guy? It matters what is he bad in? What is he doing? You know, can a guy be a bad person and all of a sudden go to jail and come out and he turns over a new leaf? Yeah, I think so. I think there's always forgiveness in everybody's heart. But there are some people that you can't. You know, there are some people in this world that, you know, you're saying a bad seed. I know I grew up with some guys like that. Just bad guys, man. They caught breaks after they got in trouble, but they just didn't listen. Some people don't listen, folks, you know. God sometimes, he's on the computer and he's saying, give this guy a break. And the guy doesn't listen. He spits in God's face a few times, and then God just goes, okay, delete. And that's that. Sometimes you got to hear God's whispers when he's whispering to you. Because he whispers first. And then he starts yelling after that. And then he doesn't yell no more. He just hits delete. So do the right thing.
Next one. What are some of the best things about growing up in the Bronx? And what are some of the worst?
I think growing up in the Bronx, and I don't want to say just the Bronx, growing up in Brooklyn, Manhattan, some of the rough areas there, it just educates you for life, I think. I remember when I did negotiations for Bronx Tale, I was doing it all myself. I didn't have an agent at the time. 1989, and Bronx Tale just took off. But I remember meeting with the people, and I could tell who was telling me the truth and who was bullshitting me. And I think that was a straight thing, and I think that was great. The bad thing about it, you grow up a little too fast. I mean, I saw a guy, like, you know the story. Everybody knows that Bronx Tale comes from the killing that I saw when I was 9. I was almost 10. And, you know, that wasn't nice to see at that age. Kind of took away your innocence a little bit. I mean, I was never haunted by it. I got to be honest with you. But I think if my son saw it when he was 10, I'd be pretty upset. So that could be one of the bad things, I think.
What do you think would happen if someone like Dante witnessed that? Because he's not from that neighborhood at all. Do you think it would be a lot more traumatic and his life would be a lot different?
I think it would have been more traumatic for him. It wasn't traumatic at all for me. I don't know why. But it's funny that I say that because I always thought about it and I end up writing about it. So obviously it did have an effect on me because I wrote about it, you know, when I was like 38, 39. And that's what busted me out to be famous, you know. So obviously for 30 years I thought about it. And then finally I sat down and wrote about it.
Was that like a normal thing in the neighborhood, or do you think people were just a little bit more hardened back then?
I mean, were there hits in the neighborhood? Yeah. It wasn't like every week or anything like that. No. But every year, a few wise guys would get whacked. And if you're unfortunate enough to be there and see it, you know, that's your problem, you know.
All right, moving on to a happier note. What was your favorite holiday growing up, and do you still have a favorite holiday?
I think my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving with Christmas. I don't know. I just love Thanksgiving. I love the food. I love the closeness of the family. I love Christmas too, but sometimes that gets overtaken by the gifts and everything. Uh, but it's a very special day. My daughter was born on December 25th. So to me, that's what makes it really special. And I always tell her, there's only people have like, Denzel Washington could be born on your birthday and Charlie Chaplin, but I told her, you got Jesus Christ. So you and Jesus Christ are in the same company. It's pretty heavy duty company, honey. And I told her that. So I think my daughter's birthday makes it even more special. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So, okay. Next one. Of the many experiences you've had over the course of your lifetime, is there anyone in particular, whether as a child or as an adult, if you were given the opportunity for a do-over, what would you do differently?
Oh, wow. That's an event. Are you talking about like one specific event?
It says any one particular thing over the course of your life.
You know what? It's funny, but my life turned out really well. I think I probably would have, if I could do anything over again, I would started writing earlier, real serious writing, like in my late 20s, early 30s. I didn't really get going with it until I was later, 38, 39. I think I wasted a lot of time just hanging out and shit, But you know what? It is what it is. What happened was it happened the way it was, and I'm grateful for it.
Was Bronx Tale the first thing you wrote?
Not the first thing I wrote. No, Bronx Tale was the first movie I wrote. Yes. Yeah.
What were you writing before that? Like little scripts?
Yeah, plays, little short plays, short stories, poetry. But I was never disciplined.
Is there anything that you wrote that you wish you could bring to film? Like when you were growing up?
That I wish I could have brought in Bronx Tale?
Not even into a Bronx Tale. I'm just saying in general. Like, is there anything that you'd like to put into film that was never actually put into film that you wrote?
No, I can't recall any. No. I wrote a lot of poetry that I wish I had. I still had. I remember writing some, and two of them got published in it was in the school paper, but they really liked it, and I wish I could have all those poems back, just so I could see them. Probably some really sucked, and maybe some were pretty good. I don't know.
That's funny. How about this one? They had a UFO hearing this week. Do you believe in UFOs?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the evidence is out there. It's just too much. I mean, how many times are we going to see these strange things flying around, And to think that we are the only living human beings in the whole entire galaxy is pretty arrogant, I think.
Well, I don't know if you saw the news hearing or some of the highlights, but they were saying, this was yesterday, by the time we're filming this, they said that they retrieved aircraft and life forms.
Really?
They were put under oath.
Well, I don't know. You see, I got to be honest with you. I don't know what the big deal is about hiding it. If somebody could explain that to me, what is the big deal? What's going to happen? You go on the news and you say, these are the life forms. They're dead, and this is the rocket ship. And if you're listening to us, we would like to speak to you. I think they're afraid of the world would just freak out. I don't know.
I think they're in fear that it's going to mess with some people's faith. It might disrupt religion.
Well, just because might disrupt religion. I don't know how. I think it might make religion even more impactful in a way. Okay, well, who created them? What's their story?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies out there why we don't know, but I think you're right when I don't think that we can handle it. I think the world will go nuts.
I don't know.
Next question's an interesting one, and I want to know this one too. What happened to the Wise and the Wise guy?
Well, that show was really great, and we loved doing it, Michael Francis and I. But the problem was he's so busy and I'm so busy that we just couldn't get together again. We keep talking we're going to pick it up again, and I hope we do because we had a lot of fans, and a lot of people really liked it. And I think maybe after the new year, Mike and I might start doing it again. But it just got to the point where we just couldn't do it. He was traveling, I was traveling. And you know what? I didn't want it to be just bullshit. Like, all right, let's just throw in 20 minutes. No. I wanted to talk about books and academia, things that matter.
So then that leads into the next question. It says, what are some of your favorite books and how did they have an impact on your life? Are you currently reading any today?
A book had an influence on my life? Yeah, there was a few books that had an influence on my life. There was obviously Machiavelli, The Prince. I still read it. I still go over that and read it. I don't know. I'm fascinated with it. I think Joseph Conrad books. I think Edge of Darkness. I read that, and that had something, I don't know, it just affected me, where I wanted to write more when I read that. That was a book that I was like, wow. D.H. Lawrence, some of his short stories I read. I like it a lot. Ernest Hemingway.
Are you reading any right now?
Right now I'm reading plays. I just read The Dumbwaiter by Harold Pinter, which I never read it, and I really liked it.
Wasn't there a book by Robert Greene that you were just reading not too long ago? What was it, The 48 Laws of Power or something like that?
Absolutely. Robert Greene. He's one of my favorite new writers, absolutely. I've been reading that, The 48 Laws of Power, and I think it's great. It's kind of a modern day Machiavelli,
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's really great. And I want to shout out to Robert. He sent me a great copy of it, like really.
Yeah, he's a big fan of yours.
Binded. Well, I'm a big fan of his, and I read his book twice already. I go back and I read it again.
Oh, we'll have to have him on one day.
Yes.
Okay, next one. How do you deal with fear of failure?
The way I deal with it is I do it. And if I fail, I fail. What's going to happen? So you fail. So what? So what? Well, what's going to happen? Sun's going to get up tomorrow. Sun's going to rise. My wife, my kids, we're all going to be okay. I'm not going to be in the street. If you fail, you fail. Too many people in this society worry about how they look in front of other people. And I think that's because of the internet. We always look at, he's on a boat, he's on Spain, he's going here, he's going there. Yeah, all right. If you fail at something, it's good. Now you know not to do it that way anymore.
I feel like too many people fail and give up.
Oh, so many people could be right so close to making it, and they just give up. That's okay, if you want to.
Anytime I'm in question about something or if it's not going to go my way, the way that I think about it is if I don't do it, I'll never know.
Right.
And I just feel like that's the best way to get over it. It's like, I'd rather know it doesn't work than not know at all.
Right. I'd rather just say, I was doing a movie and Blake Edwards, the director, great director. And we talked about sometimes the studio likes to pry into what you write. And he always said, if you're going to fail, die with your own guns at your side. it's worse than if you change it for people and then that fails. Then you go, wow, maybe my way would have been better. So if I fail, I fail. And I go, well, look, this is the way I thought it could work. Obviously, it didn't.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody who laughs at you or they say something mean? What does that mean in the
Yeah.
grand scale of things?
I don't care what anybody says. It took a while to feel that way. I think when you get older, you just say, I don't give a shit. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But all my job is to put out another one. It's being prolific. That's all my job is. Put another one out, put another one out. They might like 3 out of the 10. Great. Might like 8 out of the 10. I don't know. That's great, but I don't know.
It's a good way to think of it. So the next one we got, it says, hey, Chazz, I'm a 19-year-old college student, and I love listening to your podcast. You always give the best life advice and insight when it comes to being a stand-up guy and pursuing your goals. With that being said, what is the best advice that you can give someone when they start getting discouraged or frustrated while pursuing their dream?
Well, when I tell people who say that it's hard, I'm getting frustrated, yeah. Because if it was easy, then everybody'd be a success. Hey, let's go be actors. I want to be a writer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a brain surgeon. Yeah, it's hard. But that's the reward. It's either work hard now, have an easy life later, or have an easy life now and have a hard life later. It's your choice. It's your choice.
So here's an interesting one. Are you still friends with my cousin Danny Broccoli from Gino's Cafe?
Well, it's not Danny, it's Donnie.
Donnie, he wrote Danny.
Yeah, it's not Danny. Dominic, Donnie. Yes, Broccoli is a great guy. We're very close friends, been friends for many, many years. Nobody laughs like the Broccoli. Nobody. He's a great guy.
How about this one? If you had to repeat a life lesson twice, what would it be?
I think if I ever got, I got a nominated for Academy Award, and I didn't win, and I wasn't expecting to win. But I was so lost in the moments before the award and after the award. I think I would be a little more grounded now and enjoy the moment as opposed to being so like, wow. I think that, yeah.
What do us women need to understand as our men get older?
They love it's simple. Like, you feed them, you sleep with them, you respect them, and he'll love you forever, man. Now, women need more than that. Women want to be respected, of course. Women are just a lot smarter than men. They're more, they can handle relationships better than men. I always tell people that a man goes on quick emotion, on everything's emotion with him. It's all aesthetics, I always tell people, you have men who cheat to stay in the marriage. Women cheat to get out of the marriage. It's a difference, When a woman cheats, that's pretty much done. When a man cheats, it's like, oh, what is it? It was nothing. What did I do? I love you. And, it's stupid, but I'm just thinking that's the way it is, Women are much more, they're just smarter than men, especially when it comes to relationships. So I think men are simple. Don't make them so complicated. If they want to hang out with their friends or go to a baseball game, a football game, or whatever, don't hassle him. As long as he's a good man. But it's simple. Sleep with him, feed him, respect him. He's yours forever, man. Forever.
So this one kind of ties into the last one. It says, my husband and I are getting older. Is there any advice that you would give to us as we grow old together?
I think my advice to older people growing old together is to stay healthy. And the way you do that is exercise and diet. And there's no getting around it. Exercise and diet. And lift weights. Don't have to be weights. It could be body exercises, calisthenics, but you have to do strenuous. You have to build the muscle. People go, oh, you know what the problem is? When people go into their 70s and 80s, they stop working out because they get afraid. Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to die and get a heart attack. That's the worst thing you could do. The worst thing. Right around your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you got to lift weights. You have to pick up some weights and do curls and do push-ups, or even if you push up against the wall. But muscle builds strength, which in turn, if you go to fall, you grab you grab the table, you grab this, your legs get stronger. Muscle, your skeleton muscle is very important when you get older. 70s and 80s, start lifting weights. Do it. Build up strength. But to baby yourself is wrong. You know, I think so. So I think a married couple should work out together and be healthy together. Yeah.
So last question for today. It says, what makes you believe in God?
I always say, what doesn't make me believe in God? You know, I just feel like I'm connected. I just feel like I'm connected. There's certain celebrities I feel they walk around saying, no, there's nothing. This is it. And I go, you know what? Either they're lying to themselves or, man, that's one confident son of a bitch, you know? I do believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God. There was a man named Jesus. We know that. That's a fact. Now, whether he was the Son of God, that's something else, other people might say. But there was a man named Jesus, died at 33 years old, never went farther than 12 miles from his place where he was born. There was no internet. There was no radio. There was no television. There was no social media. He died at 33. Didn't travel more than, like I said, 12 miles from where he was born. And he is the centerpiece of Christianity. Wow. How did that happen? So my logic is he had to be somebody. He had to do something. I think about it. You know, he performed miracles, as they say. And I believe he did because he would talk to 5,000 people. There were no microphones back then. There were no crowd control back then. How could he talk to thousands of people? How could he be such a threat when he was crucified? How could that happen? I believe it. That's me. I don't begrudge anybody who doesn't believe it. If you don't, that's fine. Then you make your peace with God and you at the end deal with that. I do believe it. And I think it's important for you to teach your kids. There is something there, whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, Muslim. I believe you have to believe in something else. Not for a crutch. People say that you do it for a crutch. I don't think it's a crutch. I just know when you believe in God and you close your eyes and you say a prayer at night, you feel better. The chemicals in your mind and your body feel better. They proved it. They did studies on this. When you're grateful and you believe in God, your life is better. So for me, that's my choice. All right. That's the end of our show. Come to my restaurants. Great food. Know why? Because my name's on it. Great fish, great steaks, Great homemade pasta. Go on my Instagram, you'll see it. Just great stuff. 264 Main Street in White Plains, 30 West 46th Street in Manhattan, right off Fifth Avenue. Chazz Palminteri's Italian restaurant. My show, come to my show. Go to chazzpalminteri.net. Check it out. God bless you all, and see you next week.
But